have starting from the input layer, you have multiple hidden layers depending upon the architecture. You can have one hidden layer, two hidden layers. And then finally, you have the output layer. If you talk about the classification, then the output layer would contain as many neurons as there are the number of classes in your data set. So this is the general structure of your artificial neural network. And remember, each neuron is, it consists of, something like this. You have some input coming in with some weights, and the neuron is going to multiply, it is going to sum the inputs. Of course, after multiplying each input with the weight, so it is going to sum that, which essentially is doing something like this. Okay, so W is a vector of weights, X is a vector of inputs, then this part here, this does the dot product between the weight vector and the X, your input. And then it applies some activation function, and then you have the output. And output, depending on the neurons in the next layer, the output would be input to the neuron the next layer. This is the output of this neuron, and it is used as the input for this neuron. Similarly, this is going to be the input for the neuron in the next layer. And so this will define our hypothesis function. So these k outputs, these are my hypothesis function for k classes. So this is the hypothesis. This is the hypothesis. Now, as we did for linear regression, logistic regression, we defined a cost function. In case of neural network, we can use the same cost function, or there are different other cost functions as well. Let me go to that slide. These two loss function we have used for linear regression and logistic regression. So we can use the same for the artificial neural network as well. So once you have the cost function, the objective is now to minimize this cost function subject to the weight W, which means that you want to choose such weights that will minimize your cost function or your loss function. Okay. And for that purpose, we use gradient descent in artificial neural network as well. We are going to use gradient descent. And you know that in the gradient descent, the general algorithm is to update your weight vectors using this equation. And so this derivative for the case of artificial neural network is a little bit more complex. And for that, we looked at chain rule, and we started from some basic building blocks, if you remember. And then we saw that how can we compute a neuron or the gradient of a complex architecture. So right now I'm going to briefly go through another example of computing the gradient, and then we will move on to the implementation part. How do we implement using PyTorch? And before looking at the example, let me also look at the generalized algorithm of gradient descent. This algorithm is called generalized back propagation algorithm. It consists of two parts. Remember, I mean, so if you remember, this is the general algorithm, the gradient descent algorithm, in which you initialize the weights randomly, and then you have this loop. Okay, so within this loop, you have basically this forward pass and backward pass. Of course, because you need to, before you compute the gradient, you need to do the forward pass, as you have done in the lab also. Forward pass is going to compute the prediction given the weights, and it is going to give you all those values or intermediate values for all the functions that you will require in the backward pass to compute the gradient. Okay, so once you have the gradient, then you update the gradient. And the difference between batch gradient descent and stochastic is that here you compute the gradient for each example. So you you have a loop here, and then this part is simply computing the gradient at each example. Then there is another variant which is called mini batch, which instead of looking at just one example, it is going to pick some examples randomly, for example, 64 or 16 examples, and then try to compute the gradient using those 16 examples. So usually in practice, you're going to use mini batch gradient descent, and you will specify how many examples you need to process at each iteration. Okay, so this whole algorithm is called the back propagation, generalized back propagation algorithm. Consists of forward pass, backward pass, and then you update the your weights. But this part, basically, remember, this part falls in within this loop here. यहाँ तो सिर्फ मैंने लिख दिया compute gradient. Before you compute gradient, you have to actually do the forward pass. Then the backward pass is going to compute the gradient. Okay, and then you update. Okay, so this, before now moving forward, let's look at an example. How do we compute a gradient? Uh, and just give me a minute. I'm trying to find that file. I think I have also maybe not in that file. Okay, yeah, here it is. Okay. Let's say this is a question related to this back propagation and computing the gradient. So this is and you're given this network. This network consists of two inputs. The first input is simply a bias term. Okay. And then you have a hidden layer. This is your hidden layer. And then finally you have the output layer. So the weights, all these weights, I'm representing them using V. So V will now be you can think it of as a matrix. The first column would be the weight that will lie on on these three edges. The second column weights on the next edges. Similarly, you have a weight W consisting of these three weights. Okay, this is your trading data. So this is the first trading data, for example. Don't get confused. Usually we write trading data in rows, but if you see an example like this, you should understand what's going on. So here, this is the first example, second example, third example, fourth example. And usually what we have seen in the class was examples in the row. But even if you give an example in the column, you must understand what is going on, because the Y is now the last row. And the first row is the bias term for all the examples, so it is 1 for all examples. Now we want to compute the let's say, it is defined that okay, so now what we want to do is to compute the gradient. So basically what we want is what's going on here? This is what we why is it not writing? My pen has got stuck. It's not writing. I'm trying to see that. Maybe I should close it and open it again. Okay, so this is what I want to compute. Rate of change of L with respect to V. Now V means all the weights in this matrix V. And similarly, I want to compute rate of change of L. L is loss, or you can say, I mean, J. You can use J and L interchangeably, so it doesn't matter with respect to W. Now, of course, before doing that, we need to know what is J, what is the cost function. So let's say this is my final output, which is the hypothesis, and these are the outputs at the intermediate layer. Now, the final, let's use the mean squared error loss function to compute the loss, to compute the gradient. So my J is F minus Y square, right? So this is the error, the cost at one example, at the example X. I want to compute the gradient of J with respect to W and V. So we are going to first make the box diagram, which I have done here. Okay, I am going to do that again so that you can understand it again. Let me move it down. Okay. So basically what we have to do is to draw this in a block diagram so that we can put the gradients on the edges for each small function, and then going to compute the overall gradient using the chain rule. think मैं इसको दो कॉलम में कर दूं तो it will be easy to, yeah, like this. So let me now draw it here, starting from here. So this is, let's first focus on H1. So what is H1 doing? H1 is basically computing the dot product between the input X and the weight vector. So let's also call all the weights which lie here V1, and all the weights that lie in the second for the second neuron V2. Okay, so V1 is basically V maybe 1 0, V1 1, V1 2. Okay, so three weights. Similarly, V2 also, the three weights that lie on the three edges. So what H1 is doing, it is taking V1, which is a vector, and the input X, which is again a vector of input. It is computing the dot product, and then since we have the sigmoid here, so it means it is the activation function is sigmoid, right? And then this is going to give us the H1. Similarly, we do the same for H2. H2 is looking at so once you have these H1, H2, then you have this function f, which is looking at H1 multiplying, so it is going to multiply H1 with W0 multiply H2 with, sorry, W1, multiply H2 with W2, and then we have a bias term also, 1 is being multiplied with W0. So let's do that. We have W1 multiplied by H1, then we have W2 which is multiplied to this. And one thing to notice is that this portion can also be, we can also expand it further by doing scalar multiplication instead of vector multiplication, because here we are doing that because we have the input like that. So, but I mean, if we can, what we can do here is also multiply x1 with v11 and stuff like that, but this is much more compressed. So we have just followed this, did the vector multiplication on this part. Finally, this is the W0. Okay, W0 multiplied by 1 is simply 1, so we don't need to multiply it with 1. Once you have the multiplication, then you do the addition, right? This is plus, and finally you have the sigmoid, and then you apply the sigmoid. This is going to give you the final hypothesis. And once you get the final hypothesis, then you subtract y. So f minus y, and you compute the square. So whatever you get as output, you are computing the square of that. This is simply going to denote that what it is computing the square of the input, and this is your final j. Now the objective is to compute rate of change of j, or the gradient of j, with respect to all these weights w0, w1, w2, v1, v2. Okay. In order to do that, we're going to start from and focus at each block, at each function, write the gradient on the edges, and finally once we have that, then we are going to simply use chain rule to compute the overall gradient. Let me use the green pen to write the gradient on the edges. So let's focus on this function here. This function is simply computing the square. For example, if you have a function which is only taking the square of the function, which is only computing the square of the input, then the gradient is simply 2 times the x, right? 2 times the input. So here, let's also denote this by the output as r. Here, this is the output of, when you subtract, let's denote that as r. Basically, we are saying this is r, fx minus y is r. So the gradient would be 2 times r, right? 2 times the input. Just like here, 2 times the input, 2 times the input. Now let's focus on this function, which is subtraction. It is subtracting f from y. And we looked at this also in last lecture also. What is the derivative with respect to f, and what is the derivative with respect to y? The derivative with respect to f is 1, and here it is minus 1. Although we do not need this portion minus 1, because we don't need to compute the gradient with respect to y, but let's just write it there. Is this okay to all? देखिए ये सिंपली आपका ये पोर्शन है, आपने हमने किया था, ये देखिए ये if function is performing subtraction, then the gradients are 1 and minus 1. ठीक है, तो वही चीज़ मैंने यहाँ लिखी है, 1 and minus 1. Now let's focus on the sigmoid, and sigmoid is basically the output 1 minus the output. Let me go back here and this is the output 1 minus the output. ठीक है, तो वही चीज़ हमें यहाँ करनी है. The output is basically f 1 minus the output. ठीक है, जब आपके पास प्लस फंक्शन है, प्लस very easy, you just need to write 1 1 1 on all the inputs. So 1 1 1. Let me take you back here as well. तो ये आपका हमने लास्ट टाइम डिस्कस किया था 1 and 1. ठीक है, उसके बाद we come to multiplication, and also let me go back here. this part is multiplication, and in multiplication, if you are computing derivative with respect to a, that would be the of the second input, that would be its derivative b, and similarly a would go here. Okay, it's if you have a and b, the derivative of a is the second input, similarly of b is the first input. ठीक है, तो वही हम चीज़ यहाँ भी लिख देंगे. So h1 would come here, w1 would be written here, right? Similarly, h2 here, w2 here. This is again sigmoid. So sigmoid का output 1 minus output, output 1 minus output. This is multiplication x v1, x v2. ठीक है, very easy. अभी आपने कंप्यूट करना है. Let's say if I ask you to compute the rate of change of j with respect to v1, तो वो क्या होगा? Remember v1 is a vector, so your output, this result should also be a vector, यानी कि derivative with respect to all three individual weights. ठीक है, this is v1 basically. तो आपका जो आउटपुट रिजल्ट आएगा वो भी एक वेक्टर होगा, which will have three components के derivative with respect to the first component, second and third. उस तरह का आपका आउटपुट आएगा. So let's do that. We are going to follow this path. Let me draw it using maybe with yellow. We are going to follow this path. V1 जो है आपका इधर है, this is V1, so we are going to follow this path. Look at all the derivatives. And multiply them together. ठीक है, starting from the top or maybe from the bottom, doesn't matter. So the first one is 2r, which is the first one here. Then we have 1, then we have f1 minus f, so f1 minus f. Then we have w1. ठीक है, उसके बाद आपका आ जाएगा h1, 1 minus h1, and then finally v1. So this is the derivative of the sorry, हमने v1 कंप्यूट करा था, तो this should go here. ठीक है, तो x से मल्टीप्लाई करना है. तो ये आपका डेरिवेटिव है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू फर्स्ट. रिमेंबर जब हमने देखा था जनरलाइज्ड बैक प्रोपगेशन एल्गोरिथम, तो उसमें आपका पहले होता है फॉरवर्ड पास. तो व्हाट आर यू गोइंग टू डू? यू गोइंग टू फर्स्ट use the old value of the weights and the current x, जो training example है, and go from bottom to up, and that is going to give you all these outputs. It is going to give you h1, what is h1, is going to tell you what is f and what is r. Once you have that in the backward pass, you can easily fill in those values to r, f1 minus f, w1, h, and then you're going to get the derivative in the backward pass. ठीक है, तो ये आपका forward pass में you take an example, pass it through your network, and once you pass it through the network, you're going to get the output values, और जो भी आपको values required होंगी during the backward pass to compute the gradient, वो आप compute कर लेंगे. वापसी पे आपने simple values plug करनी है, you're going to get the values. अब इसमें 2r, f, 1 minus f, w1, h, 1 minus h, all these are scalars. For example, they come out to be let's say beta, एक value आ जाती है beta. बीटा को मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे x से, दिस इज x. x इज द फर्स्ट इनपुट. ठीक है, x इज बेसिकली 0, 0, 1. तो नेचुरली यू आर गोइंग टू गेट ए वेक्टर, जो हम बात में शुरू में बात कर रहे थे कि आपका जो डेरिवेटिव आना चाहिए वो वेक्टर आना चाहिए. तो जो वेक्टर आएगा उसमें पहला कंपोनेंट होगा डेरिवेटिव विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द फर्स्ट वेट, व्हिच इज व्हिच लाइज समवेयर हियर. डेरिवेटिव विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द सेकंड, डेरिवेटिव विद रिस्पेक्ट टू थर्ड वेट. आपने सारे वेट्स को अपडेट करना है, W1 को भी अपडेट करना है. जब उसको अपडेट करना होगा तो यू गोइंग टू फॉलो दिस पाथ. जो डेरिवेटिव आते हैं उनको मल्टीप्लाई करना होगा. W0 को अपडेट करना है, W2 को अपडेट करना है, V2 को अपडेट करना है. इन सब को अपडेट करने के लिए ये आपने ये पाथ को फॉलो करना है. प्लीज गो थ्रू दीज एग्जाम्पल्स एट होम. आज अभी टाइम क्या हो रहा है, मैं अभी नहीं क्विज ले रहा, लेकिन नेक्स्ट वीक में आपका इसी से क्विज होगा. इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि यू डू दीज थिंग्स बाय योर हैंड और यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज गोइंग ऑन. और इसके बाद वंस यू अंडरस्टैंड, यू डोंट नीड टू इम्प्लीमेंट, या आपको बार बार आपने इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं करना होता. हर लैंग्वेज में जो भी आप यूज़ करें उसमें these things are already implemented, you simply have to use them. जैसे आपने PyTorch में डॉट बैकवर्ड जो एक फंक्शन आप यूज करते थे, दैट फंक्शन एक्चुअली कंप्यूट्स ऑल दीज बैकवर्ड ऑल दीज ग्रेडियंट्स, लेकिन यू शुड नो कि क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं हो रहा, ठीक है. फॉर दैट यू नीड टू डू दैट मैनुअली. ये मैंने एक एग्जांपल कर दी है, इसमें आई गेस इस फंक्शन इस फाइल में एक दो और एग्जांपल्स भी हैं, तो गो थ्रू देम एंड गो लुक एट द सॉल्यूशन आल्सो, और पहले खुद करें फिर सॉल्यूशन देखें and try to understand what is happening. And next time we will have the quiz from here. Any question from this? I think it is not difficult. If you know the देखें छोटे दो blocks हैं, उनको आपको समझ आ गई किस तरीके से कंप्यूट करना है. Once you do that, उसके बाद simply आपने ये values plug in करनी है और then you get the derivative using chain rule. ठीक है. So let's. G, any question? I didn't get you. Please say that again. आपकी आवाज कट कट के आ रही है.
मैंने अपलोड कर दी है डॉक्यूमेंट.
ये मैं हाँ LMS पे जो है ना आपसे शेयर कर दूंगा क्लास के बाद.
ओके सर.
अच्छा, now let's move on to the implementation. So there are different libraries. The two mostly used libraries are PyTorch and TensorFlow. And PyTorch, as we also discussed, I think in last lecture, not last but last week, that is developed by Facebook. Both are open source. TensorFlow is developed by Google, and I think PyTorch I mean, it's easier to learn than TensorFlow. But I mean, it depends on your own programming style. But we are going to follow PyTorch in the class, in the lab also. And let's look at an example कि किस तरीके से आप जो हैं, although आप MNIST के ऊपर भी पहले कर चुके हैं और पिछली लैब में भी, पिछले 2-3 लैब में आप इन चीज़ों को देख चुके हैं. और जो पिछली लैब में कुछ टॉपिक्स थे जैसे रेगुलराइजेशन, ड्रॉप आउट और L2 रेगुलराइजेशन, वो हमने अभी तक क्लास में नहीं पढ़े, लेकिन आई मीन इट्स गुड कि आपने पहले से ही उसको you have some experience with those types of what regularization is and how to avoid overfitting in artificial neural network. उसको हम डिटेल में नेक्स्ट वीक पढ़ेंगे और उसकी तो वो आपको चीज़ें और क्लियर हो जाएंगी. But now let's look at the implementation of this problem in PyTorch. Let's say you have images. This is also a very commonly used data set. It's not too big in the sense that the image size is also small, so you can train it without GPU. And for practice purposes, this is a good data set, CFAR10. And in PyTorch, you can download it via PyTorch as well. This data set has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 classes. And these are some of the sample images of these 10 classes that you have to classify. And so since there are 10 classes, we're going to use softmax classification. We looked at softmax classification in last week. And what is softmax classification? Softmax classification is that we will have 10 neurons in the output layer because we have 10 classes. So once we have 10 neurons, all these 10 neurons are going to give us, so all these neurons, we are not going to have, so we will have, this is one neuron just taking the sum, and then we're going to apply softmax here. Similarly here also, and softmax here. Again, so we are going to use the softmax activation. So softmax activation is such an activation that it not only looks at the current neuron, but it also looks at other neurons and tries to compute the probability. Look, when you apply softmax, this is what you are doing. You are taking the output of the last neuron, taking the exponent, and then dividing by the sum of all the output from all the neurons. So this is not only specific to the neuron that you're working with, but it looks at all the other 10 neurons and then takes the sum of all the outputs, uses that value as the normalization value to normalize your output, so that in the end you get the probability distribution, so that when you take the sum of all these values you get 1. ठीक है, ये हमने लास्ट वीक में हम ये खुद देख चुके हैं कि दिस इज व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू से कि or maybe let me go here. Let me draw one. इसको हम यहाँ पर सबमिट लेते हैं कि लेट्स से कि ये तो हमें पता है कि क्या है, फाइनली आपके पास 10 आउटपुट होने चाहिए, एंड लेट्स लुक एट वन ऑफ द न्यूरॉन. दिस इज वन ऑफ द न्यूरॉन इन द लास्ट लेयर एंड लेट्स कॉल इट y1. तो usually you have, this is your neuron and you have some activation function. तो यहाँ तो हम मल्टीपल सिग्मॉइड यूज कर सकते हैं इन लेयर्स पे, या ReLU रेक्टिफाइड लीनियर यूनिट यूज कर सकते हैं. लास्ट में वी विल नॉट यूज दोज एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन, वी आर गोइंग टू यूज द सिग्मॉइड. सो व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू डू इज कि लेट्स से ये आपके पास 10 आउटपुट आ रहे हैं, ठीक है. सो these are 10 आउटपुट लेयर्स y10. आई थिंक यहाँ थोड़ा सा इसको दिस डायग्राम कुड हैव बीन मेड बेटर, क्योंकि यहाँ हम जो y1 कह रहे हैं ये आउटपुट को भी कह रहे हैं, और y1 हमारा जो लेबल है उसको भी हम y कह रहे हैं. तो मे बी इट विल ऐड टू सम कंफ्यूजन. ये तो सिर्फ लेबल है कि y is 1 and y1 to yk are the outputs of the neuron. So please don't get confused here. जो सबस्क्रिप्ट के साथ y लिखा हुआ है, दिस इज द आउटपुट ऑफ अ न्यूरॉन, और जो उसके बगैर लिखा हुआ है दैट इज जस्ट दी कि वो जो सैंपल x है वो कौन सी क्लास से बिलोंग करता है, ठीक है. So what we are going to do here is कि हम ये इस for the last layer we are going to say okay G is basically an identity or a function that just simply let it passes out. So we're not going to apply any activation. So G would simply be G would simply be the output Z, okay, linear output. And once we get these output y1 to yk or y10, and later on then we're going to apply this softmax, ठीक है. तो इसको बाद हम कह लें कि we apply here this softmax. क्योंकि मैं यहाँ इसको softmax G को इसलिए नहीं कह रहा क्योंकि usually activation function is applied only to the output of a neuron, but softmax is different. It looks at all the outputs because it uses this normalization which is the sum of all the outputs. तो इसलिए इसको हम इस तरीके से रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं कि once you have y1 to y10 you apply softmax and this is going to give you 10 outputs which you can consider this as a vector. कि पहली would be the probability कि जो इनपुट है वो पहली क्लास से बिलोंग करती है, इनपुट सेकंड क्लास से बिलोंग करती है, इनपुट थर्ड 10th क्लास से बिलोंग करती है, एंड सो ऑन. एंड द वे टू डू दैट इज कि यू अप्लाई दिस फंक्शन, ठीक है. ये हम डिटेल में हम लास्ट वीक देख चुके हैं. तो हाउ डू यू इम्प्लीमेंट इट इन PyTorch? And before doing that, let's say this is the architecture that has been provided कि आपने ये implement करना है. This architecture has three, starting from the input layer, you have three hidden layers, 1, 2 and 3, and this is the output layer, ठीक है. ये hidden layer 1 है, hidden layer 2 है, hidden layer 3 है, ये output layer है. और ये specify कर दी है क्योंकि input image का size आपके पास ये है 32 into 32 into 3, ठीक है. ये RGB में है आपके पास, it is not grayscale. MNIST was in grayscale, so that was only 28 by 28, but now we have 3 channels, so the input is like this 32 by 32 by 3. तो जो इनपुट का साइज है वो ये है 32 by 32 by 3, क्योंकि आपने फ्लैटन कर देना है इमेज को, इन वेक्टर फॉर्म इमेज को लेना है, नॉट इन 2D फॉर्म. तो इनपुट साइज इज 32 by 32 by 3, and the next hidden layer has 1024 neurons, so these neurons are 1024 in number. In the next hidden layer, you have 512 neurons. In the next layer, you have 128 neurons, and finally, you have 10 neurons in the output layer. So let's see how do you implement this in PyTorch. As usual, we are going to import some packages of Python, and then we are going to, use nn.linear. So देखें, this is in feature, this is for the first hidden layer H1. H1 का जो इनपुट फीचर है वो 3072 है, बिकॉज 32 into 32 into 3 is 3072 and output is 1024. ओके, क्योंकि आपके पास 1024 हिडन लेयर्स हैं H1 में, so these are the output, total 1024 output from the hidden layer 1. So this is what we have specified here. Then the activation function, we have used ReLU activation function. ठीक है, तो each one of these neurons, let's look at that, is basically the, and then you have the activation function is ReLU. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट हिडन लेयर 2. तो चूंकि यहाँ आपके पास आउटपुट 1024 थी, दे आर द इनपुट टू द नेक्स्ट हिडन लेयर, सो यू हैव इनपुट 1024, दिस इज द आउटपुट फ्रॉम दिस हिडन लेयर. और हमने स्पेसिफाई कर दिया था कि हिडन लेयर 2 में टोटल न्यूरॉन्स हमारे 5 and 12 हैं, so that is why we have 5 and 12 here. Again we apply the rectified linear unit to the output of the neuron in the second hidden layer. Third hidden layer we have input 512, क्योंकि यहाँ 512 था, पिछली लेयर की जो आउटपुट थी 512 थी, इस लेयर की आउटपुट 128 है, सो वी हैव 128 बेसिकली न्यूरॉन्स इन दी थर्ड हिडन लेयर. And this is the output layer. The output layer has, the input is 128, क्योंकि पिछले लेयर में 128 आपके पास आउटपुट है, and 10 is the final output. And finally you apply the log softmax, क्योंकि हमने कहा कि we are going to use the softmax. log इसलिए यूज किया क्योंकि हमारा जो cost function है it also has log, so that will make things easier. And then we put it, so we have to use this, this is a sequential network. You pass input here, it comes out here, so all these layers, they process the data in sequential manner, so we are using this sequential and passing all these modules, which all these modules जो कि हमने list में append करते जा रहे थे. ठीक है, तो ये हमने, this is an empty list, or this part here is simply appending all these modules in the list, and then finally यहाँ हमने module को sequential जो class है उसमें add कर दिया कि these are my modules. Finally, I'm using stochastic gradient descent with a learning rate of 0.001. This is my log, the log cost, which is negative log likelihood loss, or whenever we do softmax, this is what we use. I think in one of the labs, what you can do is instead of specifying log likelihood here and NLL loss here, what you can do is use the cross entropy loss. So what cross entropy loss does is it automatically computes the log softmax and then applies NLL loss. But numerically it is more stable than these two, so usually this is preferred. ठीक है, आप उसकी documentation में भी ये पढ़ चुके होंगे कि if you use cross entropy loss instead of using these two separately, that is better to do that. उसके बाद फिर अगेन वो तो आपका स्टेप्स वही हैं कि यू हैव अ आउटर लूप जिसमें ईपॉक्स है, इनर लूप जिसमें आप एक मिनी बैच उठाते हैं, उसमें यू परफॉर्म द फॉरवर्ड पास विच इज दिस. ठीक है, एंड देन यू कंप्यूट द लॉस, do the backward pass, and then take the step means you update weights using simply the gradients. ठीक है, और उसके बाद some printing of the results. In lab, and so I have also uploaded this code in this notebook on LMS. Please go through that and run it on your desktop, on your laptops, and try to understand each step. The second thing is in the last lab I also said that usually the good way to use the PyTorch is using the object oriented way कि आप इसको इस तरीके से लिखने के बजाय hypothesis को you actually make a class. ठीक है, और उस क्लास में आप इसको लिखते हैं. How much time do we have? टाइम हमारे पास नहीं रहा, लेकिन आई थिंक उस क्लास बेसिकली यू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम यू हैव इन क्लास, you write the name of the class, maybe my model, and then you have a function forward which is automatically called whenever you call this function with this class model, और उसमें आप सब ये चीजें ऐड कर देंगे. ठीक है, तो प्लीज़ लास्ट लैब को देख के कि उसमें किस तरीके से वो क्लास इम्प्लीमेंटेड है, ट्राई टू इम्प्लीमेंट और चेंज this notebook and write it using the class, and not using this way here. So use this class, and you should then inherit the functions of this module, this class, and then module. So that is the way to program in PyTorch. ठीक, ये तो हमने शुरू में समझने के लिए आसानी से ये कर दिया था, बट उस क्लास को यूज करते हुए आपने इसको राइट करना है। उसके बाद अनदर एग्जांपल ये भी आप देख चुके हैं, इसको भी अगर आपने तो लास्ट टाइम जो इम्प्लीमेंट किया था दैट वाज विदाउट एनी हिडन लेयर। इसमें यू कैन आल्सो इम्प्लीमेंट इट यूजिंग a neural network with different hidden layers। ये फाइल भी अपलोडेड है, ठीक है, इसको भी आप चेंज कर दें। इसको भी हमने इसी फॉर्मेट पे लिखा हुआ है, अपलोडेड है, लेकिन यू शुड यूज द क्लास एंड ट्राई टू पुट ऑल दीज मॉड्यूल विद इन द क्लास। नेक्स्ट लैब यू गोइंग टू डू दैट, यू डू द सेम ऑन फैशन एमनेस्ट, ठीक है, उसमें आपने क्लास का ही यूज करना है format, ठीक है, using the object oriented formulation or framework to define your model, and then the rest of the steps will remain same. Okay, so this is what we did in today's lecture, or this week. The neuron is a basic building block, a neural network, stacking perceptron or neurons to build neural network, loss minimization, and how do you implement it using PyTorch. So any question?
एक्सक्यूज मी सर।
जी
सर हम ये कैसे डिसाइड करते हैं कि इस डाटा सेट के लिए कौन सा क्लासिफिकेशन एल्गोरिदम सही रहेगा, या फिर एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन, या इस तरह की जो चीज़ें हैं जो डिसाइड करते हैं हम?
वो डिसाइड करना जैसे इसमें तो अपने सॉफ्ट मैक्स, क्योंकि हम क्लासीफाई कर रहे हैं तो वी आर यूजिंग जस्ट सॉफ्ट मैक्स, एंड यूजुअली सॉफ्ट मैक्स क्लासिफिकेशन के लिए ही यूज़ होता है। लेकिन इंटरमीडिएट जो आपके पास लेयर थी उसमें आपने क्या यूज़ करना है, तो वो उसमें यू कैन यूज़ जैसे इस एग्जांपल में आपको मैंने कहा था रेक्टिफाइड लीनियर यूनिट यूज़ करना है, बट यू कुड हैव यूज सिग्मॉइड एज वेल। तो उसके यूजुअली देयर इज़ नो हार्ड एंड फास्ट रूल के मैं आपको कह दूं कि अगर ये है तो ये करना है, ये है तो ये करना है, ऐसा नहीं है। उसमें यू हैव टू लुक एट सर्टेन थिंग्स कि आपका डाटा सेट किस फॉर्म में है, क्या वो नॉर्मलाइज्ड है नहीं है, कितना बड़ा है कितना छोटा है, तो इन सब चीज़ों की बेसिस पे आप डिसाइड करते हैं। And we are actually going to go through those things when we talk about regularization and initialization and optimization, all those things। उस टाइम पे हम ये इनको a little bit in more detail देखेंगे कि what can be general guidelines in help you choosing the right activation function।
थैंक यू सर।
Okay, any other question? तो ठीक है फिर, अल्लाह हाफिज़, see you next week।